Happy Monday, Jayhawks, and welcome back to Good Evening KU Sports. I'm your host, Emma Noble, and I'm so happy you're joining us today on this lovely afternoon. Today, we have a stellar lineup for all you sports fans, as baseball is almost in full swing. March Madness has everyone's brackets in shambles, and KU men's hoops has sadly made it to the offseason, while the women's team is gearing up for an intense matchup for their second-round game tonight. Now, steering away from basketball, opening day for the MLB is this Thursday. Caroline's here to give you a preseason rundown for all your favorite teams. Take it away, Caroline.
Thanks, Emma. MLB season is about to begin with opening day coming up this Thursday. Let's take a look at some of the teams to keep an eye on this season. Last season, the Texas Rangers were your World Series champs. They knocked out the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-1. This season, however, they may have a slow start due to injuries. Pitcher Max Scherzer underwent surgery on his back for a herniated disc with no confirmed timeline for his return. Jacob deGrom is their second injured pitcher, hoping to return to the game in August from his recent Tommy John surgery. However, the Rangers have some potential MVP candidates to keep in mind. Shortstop Corey Seager was named to the potential list, and outfielder Adolis Garcia looked good this spring. With the talent and experience this team possesses, a back-to-back win isn't out of the picture this year as long as they can stay healthy. The Arizona Diamondbacks have boosted their roster for the upcoming season after last year's loss to the Rangers in the World Series. With the addition of third baseman Eugenio Suarez and the consistency and potential MVP status of Corbin Carroll, Arizona is likely to have a good season. But unfortunately for the D-backs, they will again have to face some tough competition in the Dodgers and the Braves, both of whom look stronger this season, in order to return to the World Series. Speaking of the Braves, Atlanta is a top team for sure this season. They have recently extended President of Baseball Operations Alex Anthopoulos and have had a successful spring. Last season, they had the best record in the league with 104 wins and only 58 losses. They have also been first in the division for 6 years in a row. This program was strong at the end of last season, and now with the additions of pitcher Chris Sale and left fielder Jared Kelenic, they have a great potential going forward. The Los Angeles Dodgers also have a talent for a strong team this season with second baseman Mookie Betts. But their biggest edge over competition is no doubt their newly signed pitchers. Tyler Glasnow is a great addition to the Dodgers squad, along with Shohei Ohtani. With the world's best baseball player on their side, it's hard to imagine a rough 2024 season in the future for this team. The Baltimore Orioles are another team to watch. They are coming off of a 101-win season, an American League East Championship win in 2023. Like the other teams we've discussed so far, they have also bolstered their roster by acquiring pitcher Corbin Burnes. The Orioles definitely have talent to choose from within their program, but the recent announcement of the demotion of 2022's top draft pick Jackson Holliday has caused quite the commotion in Baltimore. Going into opening day, these teams are no doubt the ones to watch, but for me personally, I'm always rooting for my home team, the Chicago Cubs. With Cody Bellinger back and a new manager at the reins, I'm hoping my Cubbies will win it all this year. That's all from me today. I'll send you over to Harrison to see how the Kansas City Royals are looking this year.
Thank you, Caroline. With opening day coming up on Thursday, all of Kansas City will have their eyes on the Royals, who will open up against their divisional rival, Minnesota Twins. The Royals are looking for a big turnaround season despite a 39% win percentage over the last 6 seasons. However, there is a decent amount of optimism going into this season for the young Royals team. Led by second-year manager Matt Cochuero, the Royals will return some familiar faces, the biggest name, of course, Bobby Witt Jr. The 23-year-old prodigy is coming off a sophomore campaign in which he was 1 stolen base short of putting up a 30-50 season. Bobby finished 7th in MVP voting last year and has continued to improve defensively as he continues to live up to his recent $289 million extension. The Royals will also be returning several other young players with a lot of upside. First baseman Vinny Pasquantino will be coming off a right shoulder injury. Despite a downturn due to the injury, Pasquantino peaked at a batting average just below 300 and an OPS above 900 before the shoulder issues caught up to him last season. Vinny P will be reunited with up-and-coming prospects Maikel Garcia and Nelson Velasquez, not to mention MJ Melendez, who all showed flashes last season. Veteran catcher and beloved longtime Royal Salvador Perez will have some new pitchers to catch for this season as well. The Royals went out and signed pitchers Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, and Will Smith to the team during the offseason. No, not the Will Smith at the Oscars. These proven veterans will join standout Cole Reagans in the Royals rotation. Reagans, who the Royals acquired in the Aroldis Chapman trade, posted a 2.49 ERA when he was in the blue and gold last season. While the Royals still have relatively low odds of making the playoffs according to Vegas, there is still a lot of optimism around this team. Not only due to several young prospects returning, not just because of the veteran pitchers that the team acquired, or Matt Cotrero going into his second year as a manager, but also because of the subpar American League Central Division. With no clear standout team in the AL Central, the door for playoff berth via division win is very much at play. Thank you very much. Go Royals, and let's head back to a break.
Missed the bus again?
Yeah.
You should download My Bus Lawrence. You can see when buses are arriving here, and you can also see where the buses are in Lawrence.
Wow, okay.
Download the My Bus Lawrence app today.
Welcome back. Now, KU has had quite the journey with both the men's and women's basketball teams during March Madness this month. Women's hoops have excelled in the tournament by defeating number 9 Michigan in a game that had every viewer on the edge of their seat, as it ended with the Jayhawks winning in overtime. Later in the show, Josh will discuss the women's matchup that's happening tonight against the number 1 seed USC. Now, on the men's side of the tournament, it's clear things did not go as fans hoped, as the Jayhawks officially exited in the second round. In a tough-fought game, the Hawks fell short to number 5 Gonzaga. Tyler's here to break down the game for you and to voice his opinion on some controversial calls from the game against Samford. Tyler?
Thank you, Emma. I know everyone's probably aware of what happened over the weekend with the Jayhawks, but today I want to take a deeper dive into KU's March Madness run, so let's get into it. The men's team took on the Samford Bulldogs last Thursday, where adversity would hit the team before they even arrived into Salt Lake, as it was announced that star guard Kevin McCullough would be missing the entire tournament due to his lingering bone bruise that has affected him throughout the season. Despite missing McCullough and being a popular upset pick, the Jayhawks showed up on Thursday in what would end up being one of the higher scoring games of the first round. The Jayhawks would kick things off by letting the kid from down under, Johnny Furphy, make some huge threes to start the game. This would be followed by some insane alley-oop dunks from Hunter Dickinson and KJ Adams. But despite KU shooting 60% from the field, Samford stayed in the game, mostly because of their standout forward, Achor, dropping 23 points and gathering in 8 rebounds. The game would come down to the final seconds of the game, with Jayhawks holding on to a 1-point lead following a massive comeback from Samford. After being down 22 points, I think everyone has seen this clip, but I need to show it one more time, so here it is.
90-89. Kansas gets the ball in. Ahead to Timberlake on the run.
It's a block.
And he missed the shot.
Did they call a foul?
Now, in my personal opinion, these refs should have issued a flagrant call. I mean, there's no place for that in basketball. I'm surprised the police didn't get involved. But for real, KU may or may not have been on the right side of a call. Either way, Nicholas Timberlake would go to the line, shoot both free throws and make them, and that was all she wrote for the Jayhawks for the Bulldogs as the Jayhawks would move on where they would play Gonzaga. KU would be off to a slow start in the beginning of that game as Gonzaga would take an early lead, but yet again, Johnny Furphy made some threes to wake up the offense. After trading off runs with the Zags, it was KU who had the lead at the end of the half, 44-43. And let's just pretend the game ended there, because it was all Gonzaga the second half, as they would go on to outscore the Jayhawks 46-24 after having 5 players drop double figures, including forward Anton Watson, who put up 21 points and 6 boards to help his team move on in March Madness. Now, I know we're all sad that the men's team couldn't make a deeper run in the tournament, but there were some great moments this year. With that being said, that's going to be all from me today. Now let's send it over to Josh for an update on the Lady Jays and how they're doing in March Madness.
Hello, I'm Josh Rubin, and today I'm going to talk about March Madness. But don't worry, I'm not going to cause you viewers any more grief by talking about the KU men's team's brutal loss to the Bulldogs. Instead, I will discuss the wonderful KU women's team and their nail-biting overtime win against the Michigan Wolverines. The 8th seed Jayhawks and 9th seed Wolverines are 2 experienced, veteran-filled teams that battled right from tip-off. The game started off with some gritty defensive stops, resulting in only a combined 21 points in the first quarter. KU could not seem to find a rhythm and break Michigan's zone defense until true freshman and KU's leading scorer on the season, Samaya Nichols, hit 2 tough buckets to help snap them out of a cold streak. Michigan then called a timeout to stop the bleeding, and let me tell you, it worked. Michigan came out of that timeout firing, putting the clamps on KU and going on a quick 8-0 run. Luckily, KU's depth showed as Ryan Cobbins came off the bench to hit 2 huge threes to cut Michigan's lead to 3 at halftime, with a score of 32-29. But Michigan rode that hot streak coming out of halftime, as Michigan's star senior Cameron Williams looked unguardable in the third quarter, getting buckets left and right. But Samaya Nichols and Zakiya Franklin held in there and gave KU some much-needed buckets to round out the third quarter, down 9 to Michigan. Things weren't looking great to start the fourth quarter. We were down by 10 with only 5 minutes to play. But then KU flipped the switch and their chemistry started to show. Their perfect ball movement and 2 big steals from Holly Kurtzgitter allowed the Jayhawks to get some easy buckets. Not to mention, Zakiya Franklin was an absolute flamethrower, hitting tough shot after tough shot. Michigan just did not have an answer for the Lakeland Laser Zakiya Franklin. The last 3 minutes of the game were a shootout, with teams seemingly trading buckets every possession. And then with 17 seconds left, KU was down 3 and had to make something happen. KU ran a play out of the half court that resulted in Zakiya Franklin open for a three. You could see the Michigan players' hearts sink when they realized that the Lakeland Laser had the ball in crunch time. Franklin nailed the 3 that sent this wild game to overtime. As overtime started, KU had all the momentum, and I swear those girls looked like the 2017 Warriors. They just could not miss. Michigan was in shambles, and KU never looked back. The final score was 81-72 Jayhawks. After that incredible game, KU is now set to play number 1 ranked USC. We're going to need to carry this momentum if we want any chance of beating USC and superstar Juju Watkins. It's going to be a tough game, but I have faith in the Lady Jayhawks. Make sure to show your support as they play tonight at 10. That's all I have for today. Rock chalk, and let's send it over to Colton.
Thanks, Josh. Hopefully Kansas can get healthy and make a push and be able to beat the USC and LA tonight. Now, for the men's side of the Big 12 tournament, only 2 teams made it past the first round in the first weekend. That is number 1 seed Houston and number 2 seed Iowa State. Iowa State really took care of business in their first 2 rounds as they won their first round matchup, and then they even continued to win their second round matchup against Washington State. They beat Washington State by 11 points, and it was really good, impressive performance by the Big 12 conference champions. Houston, on their side, they took care of business in the first round, but however, they did not take care of business in the second round as they did have a scare in the second round against Texas A&M. Texas A&M really came out hot in the first half, but Houston came back in the second half to kind of take control of the game. But late in the second half, Houston kind of went on a cold streak, and Texas A&M went on a 13-1 run in the final minute and 37 seconds. That run really would be scary for the Houston Cougars, but they did get the game into overtime as Texas A&M hit a 3-point shot to send the game into overtime. Houston's 4 starters fouled out of the game, 4 of the 5 starters, and that even meant they had to put a walk-on into the game in the final minutes of overtime. That walk-on even had to make 1 free throw to make the game a 4-point game late in the quarter. Houston did come out on top in overtime, winning 100-95, so they will move in to the Sweet 16 to face Duke, but those are the only two teams to play in the Sweet 16 and or have a chance to go to the Elite 8 in the Big 12. On the other side, the losers of the Big 12. Started off with BYU as they lost to Duquesne and the first matchup of March Madness. That matchup really surprised a lot of people as BYU failed to make any shots really in the first half against Duquesne. BYU ended up getting going, but their late push was not good enough against Duquesne. You look at Kansas, obviously we know what happened. They took care of business in the first round, but lost to Gonzaga in the second. Then you go to Baylor. Baylor really took care of business in the first round, but then they faced the Clemson Tigers. Baylor's game against Clemson was neck and neck almost the entire way until the last 5 minutes of the game. Clemson did come out on top, and they just made free throws to ice the game. So Baylor's early exit is inevitable in this year's March Madness. You take a look at the other side of the bracket, and Texas Tech really disappointed a lot of fans. Texas Tech was pretty much a dark horse in the Elite 8, but you didn't see much of them in the tournament as they lost to NC State by 13 points in the first round. That really surprised a lot of people, including myself, as I thought they had a chance to beat Kentucky, but we know how Kentucky went as well. Texas and TCU, both teams who I thought didn't have a chance in March Madness, both lost in the first weekend as well. TCU lost to Utah State by 16 points, and they got outscored by 10 points in the second half. And Texas won their first matchup against Colorado State, but ended up losing in the second round to a really good Tennessee team. That's all I have for the Big 12 teams in March Madness, and play picks back up on Thursday. And once we get back to break, we're going to keep it on March Madness as we have a March Madness quiz coming up.
Good evening, Jayhawks. I'm back here with another quiz, this time March Madness style. I'm Cooper Hannon, your host for this game show, and now let's go meet your contestants. They're familiar faces. You've seen them before. Let's look. Who do we got?
After you.
I'm Chanuhan. Nice to meet you.
All right, and I would believe you are a one-time victory winner.
Yeah, right. I did.
And who are you over there?
I'm Tyler Brewer, and I've never won on the show.
And how many times have you played?
I think this might be my fourth time, third or fourth.
Fourth time. Okay, well, maybe the tides will turn and we could be seeing an upset. But let's get right into it for question one.
Yep.
Question one, here we go. Which team most recently won the national championship last year?
I'm going to buzz.
Tyler?
Give me UConn.
UConn is correct. It is correct. Tyler, you're on the board now with 1 point. Maybe carry on that mojo to question two. Here we go. Which team holds the record for most national championships? Top four answers on the board. Gentlemen, say it whenever you got it.
Chanu.
Yes?
UCLA with 11.
Wow, and he throws the actual amount? Yes, sir. He came prepared. It is UCLA, and it is indeed 11. Let's move on to question three. It's tied 1-1. Which player holds the record for most points in a single NCAA tournament? Top four answers once again. State it whenever you got it.
Buzz.
Tyler?
Is it A, Danny Manning?
Danny Manning would unfortunately be incorrect. You can now steal and take this point away.
Chanu.
Yes?
Maybe Jerry West.
Jerry West would also be incorrect. It is actually Glenn Rice
Oh,
with
really?
184 in a single tournament.
Oh.
It's okay. 1-1, still anyone's ball game. Let's move on to question four. Which team most recently has won consecutive national championships? Top four answers already. Buzz whenever you got it.
You got that?
I thought I had it, but I don't.
Chanu.
Chanu?
I would say Florida.
Florida
Yeah,
is
There was
correct.
Offer, yeah.
They won in 2006
Yeah, right.
and in 2007. 2-1 score. Couple questions left. Tyler, is it going to be a three-peat?
I got to lock in.
All right, here we go. Question five. Which team was not a part of the Final Four in last year's tournament?
Buzz.
Tyler?
Is it Gonzaga?
Gonzaga would be correct. We're back at a 2-2 ball game. This is down to the nitty-gritty. We got two questions left. And it's tied 2-2.
All right.
Here we go. Which team did not receive a 1 seed in their division this year in March Madness? Tyler again.
Buzz. Yeah, give me a B, Arizona.
B, Arizona would be correct. They received a 2 seed. All right. You know what it is. The bonus question coming up. Tyler leads 3-2. However, the bonus question is worth a whopping 2 points. Gentlemen, get your engines ready because here we go. When was the last KU national title?
Chanu.
Chanu.
I'm sorry.
No way.
T2022.
2022 would be correct. Chanu takes the victory again in the last question. Tyler, what? 3 weeks in a row. What's going on?
You know, I just want to right now say sorry to any of the fans I might have left. It's just, it's just not been my 3 weeks, but We're going to be back whenever I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe do some ball knowledge and come back. Great another Chanu. Excellent victory.
Thank you.
Calm, cool, and collective. Way to go. And thank you. That's all for us.
Wow, guys, that was some really impressive stuff. Tyler, I'm hoping you can get that dub next round. Me, myself, I love some March Madness trivia. I got about most of those right. So it's good to see you guys try and keep up with me. That's it for this edition of Good Evening KU Sports. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at GEKU_sports and tune in every Monday at 3 p.m. Rock chalk, and we'll see you next week.